Well, before you left WWF, and that was all on the kayfabe, on the down low, but you and I had started traveling together and struck up a good friendship, and we had some goddamn interesting times on the road. Times were tough back then. We were making decent coin, but we certainly weren't making top dollar. And I just come from, making 15 to 20 bucks a night, down in USWA, hooked up down there. And you know the deal, when you walked into WCW, you was already making some okay money. But because you and me are the people that we were and still are, we stayed. We made it a point to stay at the biggest shitbox hotels we could find as a rib to ourselves. One time we stayed in a little room, and it was, remember that one door that didn't meet at the top? There's about a 2-3 inch gap because the door was too small on the hinges. You remember staying in that summit?
Yeah. We stayed in some, remember the one place we stayed at, it was like, I swear it was called the Christmas Tree Inn or something like that. But we always, like, the funny thing was, we're notorious that, people probably don't realize this, but as a professional wrestler, there's no towels provided. So when you work and you're on the road, you've got to take a hotel from the towel from the hotel every night to have a towel to shower with when you get to the building. Well, all the top guys in WCW had these Marriott towels, and me and Steve would show up with this, threadbare shit towel that we had stole from some $19 a night motel.
We stayed at the worst hotels we could find, and we rented the shittiest goddamn cars. And I remember at one time, we had rented a Chevy Corsica. Now, I'm going to tell the Mazda 929 story in a minute, but we rented a Chevy Corsica, and you was driving. And I didn't hardly let anybody drive me on the road because I just didn't trust anybody, but you were always a goodwill man, still are. And we were coming around a corner in Chattanooga, Tennessee, in a Chevy Corsica. And you was kind of hauling ass in that road. It kind of grooved out, and that somebody started skipping around the highway, skipping across the road. And I just looked at you, and I remember saying this damn near verbatim. I said, dude, I think you might have a little bit more confidence in this shit box than I do. I said, why don't you slow the fuck down? You remember that shit?
Oh, fuck, it was white with fucking red interior.
Damn right. And then after about 6-9 months of that shit, we thought we hit the big time one time, and we made reservations on a Mazda 929. You remember that shit?
Picked that son of a bitch up at Budget, and Marietta came out and picked you up. I mean, we were for leather, so I think it was the first time we ever had leather seats.
Like a couple of white pimps driving down. See, now, this is back in the day when the 929 had some fucking stroke, man. If you had a 929, you was semi-big time. But, god damn. You remember when we was driving down the road that night and we decided to cut the headlights off? You talking about some stupid shit.
There was the beer consumption was pretty amazing between the two of us.
What was that?
I think the deal our beer consumption was pretty amazing. I think the deal was, especially because we used to drive your Civic a lot too.
Yeah, I had a little Honda CRX, that little egg car.
Yeah, that little blue, it was blue, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some bitch is sweet. I mean, for just you and I, it was perfect. Our gear was like, we got good. Didn't that some bitch get like 40 miles at the gallon?
Yeah, it was insane. And then people didn't understand when they saw you walking up to the car that says, no way this big motherfucker's going to get in this car. But what they didn't realize was only a 2-seater. You could put that seat way back, and you as comfortable as you would have been in a Mercedes.
Well, I think the deal was that you said when you pay for the gas and I paid for the beer, which was a fucking horrible deal. It's a horrible deal. I got fucked on that
first time I ever got over on you.
We always had a couple of songs that we'd hear on the radio that we'd go buy the cassette and play it over and over a million times in the car. And we for some reason got that damn Janet Jackson cassette we were listening to that night in that 929, and we were listening to one of them songs that some bullshit thing, and we're on a back road somewhere, and we looked at each other, and I don't know who made the decision. We were going to say how far we could drive at about 75 miles an hour with the lights off. Jeez, why? I guess because we're bored. Been out there too long.
I guess if we'd have crashed, your neck wouldn't be hurting right now.
No, hell no. Oh, well, we lived.
But we had some good times, and the thing about being on the road back in, and I hope it's still that way these days, was just the brotherhood aspect. You know, a couple of cats getting in the car, and there was many times if you and me weren't traveling together, you know, you'd get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 motherfuckers in a car or van just because that's what you had to do to make the town because you didn't have any dough. You're splitting all the damn cost of gas and cramming guys in a room. And it was just all such a good time. And, you know, the business was one of the highlights of my life. And to be sitting here talking to you all these years later, and both of us have been out of the business for quite some time, and you're still, you know, casually in it. But to maintain some of the friendships is, you know, obviously an important part of my life.